And as always, when I start these things, I start talking because I never know when it's actually going to go live. So I'm like, hey, if you just start talking, that's probably going to be right. Oh, my microphone is way too loud. Let's turn that right down. There you go. I'm going to blow your brains. Whoa, it is so loud. Jeez, calm down. There we go. Right. So we should be going now. Who knows? But hello, welcome to the Week in Gaming / Simon's Pro Wrestling podcast. This is the big chat about TLC, and I know I'm a little bit late, couple of days. What I wanted to do was do it yesterday. I didn't get round to it, so I decided what to do is, basically what I'm going to try to do is this. You can still listen to this via iTunes or via podcast. Hopefully you are listening now. Hello, welcome, pleasure to meet you. Or if you do want to watch it live, what I would like to get into a routine of doing is after a pay-per-view, record half the podcast, and after Raw and SmackDown on a Wednesday, record the other half of the podcast. So that's the plan. But we'll see what happens. It's all an experiment. Either way, you will get a podcast on Saturday. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode where we predicted the old TLC card. And then obviously everything changed and WWE went nuts. But, I think they did as well as they could have done given the situation that was laid out in front of them. I mean, they gave us a lot. Don't forget as well, on the SmackDown brand, you had Triple H going off to Chile to take Kevin Owens' place, who also had to leave the tour because he had personal issues. And then obviously we had AJ Styles taking Bray Wyatt's place, which I actually think has saved Bray Wyatt's career. We'll get to it. And obviously Kurt Angle makes his big return in the main event. So let's not waste any time. Please do say things in the comments and all stuff like that, and I'll get to that as and when I can. We'll put this card over here that I've made for myself. So we'll start with the pre-show. Now, I actually predicted last week that Alicia Fox would win Sasha Banks. As it turns out, I was overthinking things. Of course, Alicia Fox wasn't going to win. Why would she? Although saying that, maybe she could have done, and we'll get to Raw and SmackDown later, or tomorrow, if you're watching this live. All of a sudden on Raw, Alicia Fox is beating everybody, beating Bayley and Sasha Banks, to become the captain of Team Women's Raw SmackDown team. No, wait, what? No. Team Raw's Women's Survivor Series team. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. I just want to say hello. There's a lot of people saying hello. Hello, Michael Murphy, Whole Truthy, Brad Davis, David Ayres, Andrew Howell, and Mr. Chipmunk. Hello to all of you. So yeah, maybe Alicia Fox could have won. She won on Raw, but Sasha Banks beats Alicia Fox on the pre-show. A pretty standard match, all things considered. I mean, it's a pre-show though. Do you really care? I mean, I think WWE by this point have underlined that. What does a pre-show even mean? Nothing. I mean, the best pre-show we saw was that one with the Usos were on it. Was that Usos versus New Day on the pre-show a few months ago? That was weird. But otherwise, I mean, the fact they took off the Neville Austin Aries pre-show match from WrestleMania kind of sums up how they see it. Also, I wonder if Neville or WWE are happy that this illness happened in terms of Neville. Because all this illness stuff happened and everyone stopped talking about Neville, as you would, because there was, huge news to talk about. But I hope we get some, resolution to the Neville storyline soon, because Neville is awesome. Brad Davis, an Alicia Fox victory would have been cool, though. Could have led to an interesting story on the women's side for once. Well, I just think that would have tied more into Monday when she won that match, but again, it's just WWE. I guess they just make it up as they go along in many ways. James Jackson, hi Simon. The pre-show actually means the pre of the show, by the way. Hi James. Thanks for letting me know. I know what the pre-show is. I appreciate it though. I appreciate all the love and I appreciate all the comments. Right, so then we moved into the main card. We had Asuka, whatever you want to call her. She has no name. I don't know what she's called. Dave Meltzer calls her Asuka or something. WWE call her Asuka. Some people call her Oscar. I don't know what to call her anymore. So she's going to be all these names. All these names into one. But she beat Emma. Now, the big talking point from all of this is that as opposed to being booked like Goldberg and coming in and just running rampant, she kind of had a back and forth. It wasn't even a back and forth match with Emma. She beat Emma, so thank goodness for that, because, you're on your debut, when you've got all this momentum, you want to do that. But she had a very fair match. Like, it was... I don't know, it was fair's the wrong word. Emma dominated, really. It was that classic thing, it was because she was going to lose, WWE booked her strong. And that would have been fine if this was down the line, but I just think given the momentum and given what we all know about her, it would have been so much better to have just let her Goldberg the crap out of Emma. So that was a bit strange to me, especially because then on Raw they did it again. I don't understand. I mean, WWE don't care about Emma. I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's true, right? Given what we've all seen, you would assume that they don't care about Emma. So why all of a sudden are we not getting behind Asuka, who is this new, dominant, amazing champion that people love? She got an amazing reaction on TLC, not so much on Raw. I don't get that. I find that a bit strange. So, I mean, look, we're two nights in for Asuka, right? So it's not going to be a big deal till a few weeks down the line. I just think it's very strange when you've already built up this storyline in NXT, and I understand the NXT's audience is not the main roster audience, but when you've already built that up, why on earth wouldn't you want to build on that and teach the new audience, hey, look, this girl kicks ass. And Emma, at this stage of her career, and hopefully they'll change this going forward, is dispensable. She could have lost, and it wouldn't have made that much of a difference going forward on Raw. So I don't understand that. I thought it was strange. I thought it was really strange they then rematched on Raw and did exactly the same thing, because I thought we were trying to be building people here. I would have just used Asuka as Goldberg. But maybe they just don't have a deep enough roster, so they think, well, we have to, let it go on for a little bit, otherwise we're going to run out of women. Nathan King, Emma is the biggest jobber in WWE. Kurt Hawkins, probably. He's up there. Whole truth is Simon doing his ET. I don't know why my hood's up. I'm really warm. I just put it up, and then I started refilming, and it was still up. But yeah, good point. Nathan also asked, how's wrestling school going? Wrestling school is going very well. Wrestling school right now is going better than it ever has done, but there'll be an update of that down the line, but I'm very excited. This was the other problem with TLC, is we had that match, which was a bit underwhelming, because I think we all wanted different things to happen, or at least a more dominant performance. And then we saw Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann just beat Jack Gallagher and Brian Kendrick, and it was a good Cruiserweight / 205 Live match, but again, it just felt empty, because there was no story. There was a story about watching 205 Live, but it just didn't feel, it wasn't given any time, and it felt like even WWE didn't really care. And this was just on there as an advert for 205 Live, as an advert for the Cruiserweight division. And it still doesn't really... I just don't like it when they take all the guys and throw them into the match. Same with the women's division. Same with anything. I didn't like it when they used to do it with the IC title at WrestleMania, because I just think it overshadows the point of what you're trying to achieve. And they did that massively on Raw this week with the 10-man tag match, where you can't highlight anybody. And at the moment, does the Cruiserweight title even mean anything? I mean, we'll talk about Enzo beating Kalisto here as well. And I think the fact that Enzo did win proves that decision about Kalisto winning was down to Neville leaving. Why they felt the need to do that, I don't know, but they did. And I do like everything Enzo's doing. I think he brings personality and he brings character to 205 Live, which is what it's missing. But it still feels like an afterthought from WWE's point of view. And the fact they're not really allowed to be cruiserweights, is an issue, for me anyway, because why else would I tune into that show? The main event was crazier for different reasons, but there was more crazy moves in the main event than there was in the 205 Live Cruiserweight matches. I think I said this last week, and it's a terrible use of the term, but I want 205 Live to be like the indie scene, or what we perceive the indie scene to be today. That's what I'd get a kick out of, but we don't get that. And I want to see flips and dives, and you can do that safely, but I think that should be the place for 205 Live. And then I think you'd have this it'd have a USP, it'd have a niche, you'd have a reason to watch, you'd enjoy the matches. And of course, the worry there from a company standpoint is, what if we do this and that overshadows the main event? We'll come up with different ways. I mean, that happened in WCW, right? The Cruiserweights would steal the show, but it's also because the main events there were lazily booked and the people in it were lazy. So just think of ways to make every match interesting and every match different. And I think that's the problem with 205 Live and the Cruiserweights. It doesn't feel that way. It just feels like they're there because they've made this program. They don't want to give it up. They don't want to change things up. So it just happens. And that's that's no good to me. Paolau, do you think WWE should dissolve the Cruiserweight division? I'm not saying necessarily I'd go that far. Well, no, if they're not going to change it, maybe they should, because I don't know who's watching it at the moment. I don't know anybody who watches it. And I know loads of wrestling fans. I don't watch 205 Live. Just now in the comments, just write yes, no. Yes if you watch 205 Live, no if you didn't, and I will start. I'm gonna try and total them up as they go. But I'm gonna guess the majority of you say no, or you're just gonna troll me and say yes. However, I'm trying to conduct a poll here, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I just thought that both those matches didn't feel like they had any significance to them whatsoever. Right, got no, yes, no, 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 yes, yes. Sometimes no, 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 no. Right, so no is one. It's just no is one. There's a few yeses, and there's nothing. If you do watch it, that's good for you. What does that mean? But you know what I mean. There isn't a reason to watch for me. It's not different enough. And after I've watched Raw and SmackDown and a pay-per-view, do I have an hour extra to watch something that's going to feel like Raw, SmackDown, and a pay-per-view? No, I don't. I need something different, and that's why I think NXT can stand out when it has a good show, because it does feel different. It feels like it's formatted differently. It feels like it has something extra. So that was my problem there. We also had the Alexa Bliss Mickie James match. Alexa Bliss wins to retains her women's title. I actually thought that was a decent match. I've seen some what do you call it? the divisive comments. Some people didn't like it, but I thought Mickie James proved that she is very talented. The babyface promo she cut afterwards I thought was great. It was lovely to see someone that's meant to be cheered getting cheered. I missed that in WWE in 2017. I'm sick of all this, we're going to boo you because you're the good guy. It's worn thin. Because we've had it for about 10 years with Cena, and now we're getting it with Reigns. But I thought it was a good match. I think Alexa Bliss is getting better. I think Alexa Bliss's promo work is fantastic. Mickie James, like I say, is a great babyface. So all in all, I just thought it was a good women's title match. Again, made less sense on Raw, where Mickie James came out and just DDT'd Alexa Bliss. If that was going to happen, why did we get a clean win here from Alexa? But still, it was a good match in the context of the show and made that women's title feel important. So that is important. What was bad, I noticed, is after the fact, is that Bayley wasn't on the show at all. Bayley's just, obviously Nia Jax is off TV at the moment. But no, I think right now it's a shame that WWE felt the need to make Mickie James a heel a year ago or 2 years ago, wherever it was, because she's quite clearly a person that people love. She's very good at playing the face role. She's a veteran. We all respect her for her career and her work and all of that kind of jazz. What I will say, I think WWE have to start realizing they cannot control the chants of all the fans. The big new one at the moment is to get Biscuit Butt chanted at Alexa Bliss. Now, one, I don't know what Biscuit Butt means. I like biscuits and I like butts. So Biscuit Butt to me is a wonderful thing. Not sure why that would be considered a negative. And two, if the crowd don't organically start chanting it, you can put, I remember what did Seth Rollins pussy, the cookie puss with Chris Jericho. I thought that was dumb, but the crowd did chant it, so fine. If you want to run with it, run with it. But if Biscuit Butt doesn't take on, I don't think you have to push it with Biscuit Butt. Nathan King, Simon, what do you think of Enzo's heel turn? I'm not a fan personally. Well, the thing is, I was not a fan of Enzo beforehand. I respected what he did, and I knew he was talented, on the mic and stuff. But he just rubbed me the wrong way. So I actually like it, because now he's a heel, he rubs me the wrong way, and I think, he's ticking all the boxes. But Enzo seems to be a very, he's a very hit and miss character. I think you either love him or you hate him. So, Cookie Puss, that was it. What did I say? Did I say Cookie Puss? I think I said Cookie Puss. But yeah, that's I think the women's title right now is actually in a good position, especially if we can build up Asuka and make her a proper legitimate contender. I would love to see her kicking loads of ass, getting to Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss playing her cowardly but secretly cocky kind of a role, or the other way around, cocky but secretly cowardly kind of a role. That would be excellent, I think. And then Asuka should win and she should hold the belt for 2 years, and then let someone beat her, because then it will build them and Asuka, it won't hurt her at the time. Just do Goldberg. Just do Goldberg. I don't understand. Next up, let's do those two matches last. So, throughout the night, Jason Jordan decided he'd pop down to his local grocery. He'd buy some lettuce and tomatoes and whatever other vegetables he's had. And he thought he'd just throw them at Elias. That was a storyline. It's one. Oh, gosh, hit my mic. It's one of those storylines where you think, what if you didn't watch wrestling? And your mate said to you, what's going on in wrestling right now? Who's this guy? Who's this athletic wrestler guy? He's pretty good. Oh, that's Jason Jordan. Oh, right, why is he feuding with this guy? Well, the other guy, he comes out and he plays concerts. And he's a bit of a dick. However, one night Jason Jordan just threw some lettuce at him, and the other guy didn't like it. Lettuce. It's worse than a shampoo for a Japanese commercial. I mean, it was entertaining to a certain degree, because at least it wasn't wrestling. But the fact that it ended in a wrestling match at the end of it, which they could have held off to Raw or a couple of weeks, it just seemed nuts to me. And this match was put between Finn AJ, which we'll get to, and the main event. So, of course, it's going to die. After you've seen Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, and you know you're about to see a main event that everybody was intrigued about, especially because Kurt Angle's returning, how was Jason Jordan versus Elias meant to do anything? And what even makes less sense is that Jason Jordan beats Elias clean, and then they have a rematch on Raw. I don't get it. I don't get how I'm meant to... Which way am I meant to go with this kind of stuff? That's when I get really confused. I think Jason Jordan's great. I think Elias is great. Elias gets proper heat and he's meant to be a heel. But where are we going? Like, this is my weird hand motion. Where am I? What side am I meant to fall down on? Because I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. And it's just weird. Is Jason Jordan a good guy? I don't know. I mean, Elias is clearly a bad guy. That's why I like it. But I also... Does anyone else feel like we've moved away from Jason Jordan being Kurt Angle's son? Does that ever get brought up? I guess they're probably going to have to underline that it's a lie before people forget it, but that's something to think about. Terry McHugh is meant to cool down the crowd before the car wreck video game match. I understand what you're saying, but I didn't need a calm down then. It just made me hate the show less. You could have cut off 20 minutes or 15 minutes and just gone straight from Finn and AJ into the main event and make the show less. Less is more, especially when it comes to wrestling. We've seen way too many long shows. Luke Sullivan, where does Jason Jordan go from here? I don't know, man. I'd love to tell you. I really don't know what they're going to do. What they're going to do with him. Because it's just a bad gimmick. In 2017, you can't do storylines and gimmicks like that anymore because it just doesn't feel real. Social media ruins it. And I understand that you can try and buy in, but when they're that specific with a story, I think there needs to be a little bit of believability there. And there isn't. So Jason Jordan does feel... He's very good, Jason Jordan. Don't get me wrong. He is very good. Also, I want to point out that when I did the ups and downs for this ages ago, I said we never found out who sent the text messages. And I got inundated with comments, people saying, give him time, give him time. It's been a long time. Still don't know who's sending those text messages. I imagine they will pay it off eventually. But still, the fact that it just got stopped talking about dead, not good. Joshua Wow. Should Rusev join the Usos? No, Rusev just... I saw that thing too. He was good. But no, Rusev is the man. Right, that did lead us to Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. I thought it was a tremendous match. Genuinely one of the best WWE matches of the year. Not that surprising. Maybe not as good as some people were expecting, but I still loved it. It was incredibly entertaining. They're just so good, it's ridiculous, which made it even more stupid that Finn Balor won clean here and then lost to Kane on Raw. We'll talk about Raw tomorrow once SmackDown's done. I'll wait to see if Raw invades SmackDown like SmackDown invaded Raw. But I just don't understand. And I get it. This was an out-of-nowhere match. It doesn't really count for anything. Finn probably went over because he's the Raw guy and AJ came on to SmackDown. However, with all that said, it would be nice if we could roll with the punches and think, well, we've just had Finn Balor beat AJ Styles, one of the best wrestlers in the company in the world. Maybe we shouldn't have him lose to Kane. And I love Kane. I'd marry Kane. I'd have Kane's babies. However, Kane he didn't need that win. We didn't need it. But it did save Bray Wyatt. I mean, hopefully now he'll never have to do Sister Abigail and we can forget about it. I did hear something very funny on the Wrestling Observer podcast. Mike Sempervive made a great point. Bray Wyatt with all his mystical powers and he was off sick. Doesn't do well for that gimmick. But, you can't help stuff like that. But yeah, thank goodness. Hopefully, I imagine they will go back to Sister Abigail because apparently Finn's got nothing until Royal Rumble or whenever he's going to fight Brock Lesnar. So I imagine Sister Abigail will come back, but at least, it calmed down. But yeah, I mean, the fact that AJ Styles has just come back from South America, yeah, surely. He just come back from South America and he can still put on a match like this. It's Finn Balor's best match in years. In years in the WWE, I'd say. Just great stuff. There was no story, no build, just two wrestlers being great wrestlers, very inspiring, very talented, very athletic. It was just awesome. I loved it. My favorite match on the show by a mile. Those two are great. They're kind of the quintessential modern day pro wrestler in many ways. So that would be good. Adam Pearson, my man. How you doing, Adam? Will there be consequences for the too sweet gesture after the match? Okay, we should talk about that, actually. Yeah, so when the match was done, they too sweeted each other. Now, AJ Styles claims... Well, there was a rumour that Vince McMahon told them to do this, to stick it to the Young Bucks. AJ Styles says that was not the case, and it was done on the fly. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. I think, the issue was that Vince doesn't like the Young Bucks, and they were doing it outside of the WWE. But Gallows and Anderson do the too sweet all the time. Those two... I don't think it'd be a problem. The fact is they did it. They're signed WWE people. WWE own the trademark, so they probably didn't even think about that. I know AJ Styles mentioned the Bullet Club on Twitter, but I imagine it's all okay. If anything, it's WWE, claiming that back almost. So I don't think it will. I don't think it will be a problem. And now we get into the main event. The Shield and Kurt Angle beat The Miz, The Bar, Braun and Kane. Starters, it was hilarious seeing Kurt Angle come out in the Shield flap jacket. He did look like somebody's dad. There's no two ways about it. That's what he looked like. He looked so happy as well. He's like both a dad and a child. But it was wonderful because you could see his happiness. I love that they protected him throughout the match. He only really worked with Kane. That table bump wasn't too bad. So, that was fine. It was all good. That was my only worry. And I thought it was a good match. A lot of people thought it was overbooked and stupid, which it was. But it's pro wrestling. Why wouldn't I want overbooked and stupid? I saw Braun Strowman get thrown into a garbage truck and essentially killed. Wonderful. Even though they told me on Raw he's only going to be out for 3 weeks. I saw Kane turn on Braun Strowman. So they're going to build up that match as they hinted about on Raw. And I saw Kurt Angle and the Shield give a triple powerbomb to The Miz. What's there not to like? It was stupid, and it was over the top, and yeah, at times it was a bit messy, especially that bit in the middle where it just died. Don't make it go 40 minutes. It's a network. You control it. Take 5 minutes out. So that one was strange. But I just loved it. I thought it was great. It was silly. It was stupid. It was over the top. It made me laugh. I wasn't bored watching it. So given the fact this is entertainment, I can't be too mad about that. So, and we saw Kurt Angle come back, and there is an argument, and I'll do a video on this for What Culture, but there is an argument that it wasn't the smartest idea long-term to bring Kurt Angle back. However, given the circumstances and given my enjoyment of the event to sit down and watch TLC, I got to see Kurt Angle come back and team with the Shield and take on all these people. It's not really... I felt like I got my money's worth. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, seeing Angle, do the Angle Slam and the ankle lock, it was 11 years ago or however long it's been. It was like a lovely, lovely walk down memory lane. And now it seems like he's going to be in the Survivor Series match anyway. So what, we pulled the trigger a month early? Obviously a build would have been better, I'm sure. If they had done what they did on Raw without that match, you would have got excited because we could have started going, is Kurt Angle going to come back? But look, we got loads of feuds out of it. Kane and Braun are going to go at it. We've got the Bar and the remaining Shield guys. Obviously not Roman going at it at Survivor Series in a champion versus champion match. The Miz is going through Baron Corbin, so that doesn't really tie in. But still, there were lots of seeds planted here to make sure that we can get through the next few weeks to Survivor Series and know where the starting point was. So I liked it. And yeah, I know it was ridiculous that Braun got thrown in a trash compactor and killed. I mean, he was killed. There's no two ways about it. He was murdered. But I saw Paul Bearer get murdered at least 10 times during my WWE watching career, and he always came back. So I can't start criticizing them now. They've done this forever. Besides, Braun Strowman is the monster among men. You can't stop him. He can do whatever he wants. So yeah, I like TLC. I thought it was a really, really good show. I thought it was fun. Looking at my card now, the only matches I didn't really like were Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox. I enjoyed Asuka and Emma. I just thought the booking was weird. The 205 Live tag match was fun, but again, empty. And Enzo Callisto I didn't like. And Jason Jordan versus Elias I didn't like just because I didn't like how it was thrown together. But someone's mentioning if Paige is going to come back. Apparently she is coming back soon, or so they say. Chuck ESP, Simon Shoutout. I don't know whether you're shouting out to me or you'd like a shout out, but we've just done both. So now we're a team, and we'll be a team. We'll be a team forever. But no, I just thought it was a really, really fun show, and I thought given the parameters they had to play within at the last minute, they did a great job. I really, really do. And now, again, we'll talk about Raw and SmackDown once SmackDown is done, just to see where we're at. But Survivor Series is going to be fun. I mean, Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar. Apparently, John Cena is going to be the special guest ref there. So there's enough intrigue and nonsense to make that interesting. So I'm okay with that. The Usos versus... I made a mistake a minute ago, sorry. The Usos versus The Shield will be awesome. I don't see how that can't be awesome. Miz and Baron Corbin, nah. We'll see what happens with that. But Team Raw versus Team SmackDown will be good. I've got no doubt Survivor Series is not going to be a really, really fun show. And it probably will be. And also, given all of that, Brock versus Lesnar... Oh my gosh. Brock versus Jinder Mahal probably isn't going to go on last. They can get away with a bit more. And also, it seems like we're going to get Kane versus Braun Strowman, which is a bit weird on a Raw versus SmackDown card. But I don't think you're going to hold that off any longer. But we'll see what happens there. It was a bit weird, the whole Kane Finn Balor stuff. I don't really know what's going on with that, but let's see. Let's see what happens. I mean, I didn't necessarily like it within the context of Raw. We'll see what Finn does. I assume Finn will be on Team Raw. It just makes no sense. I don't understand if you beat AJ Styles, all of a sudden the next match you have to lose in ridiculous fashion. Baron Corbin lost to Sin Cara, Finn Balor lost to Kane, and he got whooped by Kane too. And again, I love Kane. Thought it was strange. Pablo Andrade. Do you think there'll be a Balor Styles rematch on Survivor Series? There will, but only because Finn Balor will be on Team Raw and AJ Styles will be on Team SmackDown. Those two are definitely in that match. I'd put everything on it. Everything. El Waster, curious to see Miz versus Corbin, because Miz is great, but only with someone great to go against. Not sure him and Corbin will be more than standard at best. That's the only match I think there's a question mark over at the moment, because it's two quintessential heels who, like you're 100% correct, work better when they're working with a good wrestler. They're not necessarily match carriers. But hey, I want to know, I mean, is it just champions versus champion match, but no belts are on the line? I mean, obviously, but that kind of takes away, who cares? What difference does it make? Oh, it's the IC champ versus US champ, but it doesn't matter. Whoever wins, still keep your belts. So that's strange to me. I don't see why we're doing that. But we'll see. I'm all right with Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see where we get to. It's early days. I thought Paul Heyman's promo on Raw was awesome. Going to get to that tomorrow. I mean, that's pretty much TLC. If I was going to rate it out of 5, I'd give it 3 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 rating. And you can take that to the bank. That is fact now. So it will always be a 3 out of 5 pay-per-view. And then we'll see what happens on SmackDown later today. Obviously, if you're listening to this on podcast, there's now going to be a weird, well, not even a gap. It's just going to transition into the second part. But, that's okay. I'll try and make it weave together as much as possible. Harris Kumar, love from Pakistan, love from Simon Miller's house right here in the UK, right back at you. A lot of love going around. Nathan King, do you think Angle's return was too soon? Yeah, I do, but they were put in a bad position. So, and I like the fallout. I think the end of Raw was great. Again, we'll talk about that tomorrow. And I think right now, I know WWE attendance isn't very good and ratings aren't very good, but they do seem to have momentum. Like, their big programs to me are interesting. They're fun. The Shield is back. When Roman comes back, he can slot back in. I like Kane. I know that's not a big deal for many people, but I enjoy it. We had Balor stars, like the beatdown. There's a lot going on. Someone just told me I look very tired. That's a lovely thing to say. Thanks for that. Now I'm gonna go around today feeling like I look terrible. So thank you for ruining my day. I'm kidding. I mean, it's a combination of the light that is above my head and me wearing my hood, but I am tired. It's all right to be tired. That's all I got to say about it. Love from Ipswich from Nathan King. Love right back at you. Right, okay. So that was TLC 2017. I thought a decent show. Join me tomorrow as we run down Raw and SmackDown. Obviously, Raw was last night. SmackDown is tonight. And yeah, that was. I mean, like I said, I was supposed to do this yesterday, and I didn't get around to it because I'm an idiot. However, we've done it now. That's what matters, and we can just plow forward with the week. Keep enjoying wrestling. Remember, wrestling's meant to be fun. Try not to get too sad about it, and just whoop some ass. Not literally. Don't go on the street and start beating people up. That won't be any good. But whoop some figurative ass. Figurative. Can't say that word. Now I slowly put my hand on here. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you never hear this bit as well. I'm gonna cut it out. But love from Croydon from Adam Pearson. Love right back to my man Adam. He's a good dude. And love from Atlanta, Terry McHugh. Now we're just doing shout-outs. This isn't meant to be the thing. Salty Speakers, love from Maine, just throwing love at people. What a way to finish. It's like I'm a radio DJ. So thank you very much for watching. Again, tune in tomorrow around the same time for the Raw and SmackDown breakdowns. And if you're listening on podcast, this will all be segued together, and you'll never even know. Rock on, keep kicking ass.